In terms of the lower income households making disaster mitigation improvements themselves, there's obviously a cost challenge to them. On the other side of the disasters, when you're talking about recovery efforts, and particularly relocation, there's additional considerations for these lower income populations. Like as in the other cases, they lack financial resources, so it may be difficult for them to relocate to these new locations when the threat of the storm is imminent, or the threat of the natural disaster is imminent, or in the wake of it if their home has been destroyed. And in terms of relocating them to these new areas, it's going to be difficult to find both safe, quality, and affordable housing for them to live in.
First of all, each of these disasters taught us that the storms have a tendency to single out single-family units and largely units that have deferred maintenance issues. They also disproportionately single out the homes of low-income people. Given that many low-income people are located in low-lying areas,
my opinion is the way to build affordable housing is to the newest unamended building code, and that's the big thing, is the unamended building code. The building code, some people may not realize this, it's the bare minimum allowed. But in every way, affordability is taken into account as the building code is drafted.
There's some places where mitigation's just not enough. There's some areas below sea level, areas in flood zones. There's some places that we probably ought to do a better job of making it more difficult to build or prohibiting building entirely. We probably need to, I think, as a society, look at more voucher-based assistance rather than sort of institutional public housing type assistance. Not just because of storms, but as our economy changes and as our society changes, our job market is more mobile than it's ever been before. And people at the low end of the economic spectrum are probably most in need of being able to change their focus as the economy shifts, as the job market shifts.
Congress provided $6.2 billion for all communities impacted by disasters in 2008. Much of that money still had not been allocated to communities. There was an opportunity here to do something different from what we had done in the past when community development block grant money was provided for disaster recovery, and that is to set aside a portion of that money for something that we named the Disaster Relief Enhancement Fund. This fund basically provided potentially a bonus for states for states that used its money in forward-thinking related activities. I encourage you all to get involved within the discussions about how those monies will be used in addressing the needs of the communities that are recovering from disasters.